car blocking someone is CGM 59W. If you could move the car, please. Thank you.
Before we start the lecture, I apologize. I have made a PowerPoint slide, but it's just the connection. Don't have the HDMI, but next time, inshallah, I'll prepare it. But I do have this slide. I'm just letting you know. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to connect, but next time, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وبعد Inshallah, today's lecture is about how to increase our iman. We find ourselves always in need of increasing our iman. Especially look at today, the way we are, from a day-to-day basis, we find our iman is going up and down, increasing and decreasing. Sometimes more decreasing than increasing. So, there is a remedy for this. And the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned in the hadith, he mentioned that verily the faith of one of you will wear out. Just like the garment. Just like the garment when you wear it, you consistently wear your shirt, it becomes worn out. And similarly, it is the same with iman. Where we have to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to renew our hearts with faith. To renew our hearts with iman. To increase our iman. And there's a dua in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he mentioned in the surah Al-Imran, رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا. Oh our Lord, do not let our hearts be misguided or led astray after you have given us guidance. In other words, keep us strong on the guidance. Keep our hearts on the deen. Make our hearts connected to the religion. And do not make our hearts waver away from the deen. So, if you don't work on your iman, then what will happen is it becomes weak. And you're more susceptible to doing things which are not in accordance with that which pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when the weaker the iman, the more dangerous it becomes. The weaker the iman, the more dangerous it becomes. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and give us the strength of iman. Firstly, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the first message that he came with was Tawheed, oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In order for us to have that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we must be aware that we worship Allah and only Allah alone. For us Muslims, it's easy. We know our God is one. There is no confusion in who our God is. We have one God and we worship that one God alone. The God of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the God of Jesus alayhi salam, the God of Moses, right? The God of Abraham, the God of Adam. So we all worship that one God that they all worship. So there's no confusion for us. Alhamdulillah. We need to have this tawakkul as well. To have this trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The tawakkul in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that whatever is happening in this world, whatever is happening in my life, it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And a believer has firm trust in Allah. Trust in Allah throughout the day. Trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with whatever He has willed. Whatever He has willed for us, we accept His will for us. We don't reject His will. We don't become upset with whatever His will for us. If there is, the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned there is good for a believer in all situations. In good situations and in bad situations. In good situations, he rejoices. In bad situations, he asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His mercy. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows His mercy. Allah bestows His forgiveness on that person. And seeking help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. This is, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. It's mentioned in the Quran. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ, we worship you only alone. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. And only you, from you, O Allah, do we ask for help. إِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. Asking help from Allah Azza wa Jal, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, do it with everything. Anything that you need, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever you require, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that builds that connection with Allah Azza wa Jal. Right? And this is the message of Islam. The first thing is the Tawheed. Being upon the Tawheed and understanding that you have only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to call on. And then you completely rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throughout your day. And that's when you have that, the connection with Allah. You have that relationship with Allah throughout your day. And you feel like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you because you're thinking of Allah. As the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, whoever remembers Allah, Allah remembers him. So if you're remembering Allah consistently, it helps to increase the iman. Another thing, Umar ibn al-Khattab, he mentioned that the heart becomes hardened when it does not remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When throughout your day, if you don't use Allah's name in your speech, if you don't use Allah's name in your speech, Umar ibn al-Khattab, he said your heart becomes hardened. It becomes hardened. And that's when the heart becomes hardened, a person loses that connection with Allah Azza wa Jalla. So when we speak throughout our day, we have to be careful to use Allah's name. We have to be careful not to use words which displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And having that consciousness of Allah in our mind. This is one of the greatest things. To have that connection with Allah throughout our day continuously. So what is the main thing that can help us to increase our iman? It is simple. Very simple answer. Al-Quran. Al-Quran is the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Holy Quran. This is our connection to Allah Azza wa Jalla. This is our connection with our Creator, God Almighty. So, there's a hadith the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned. خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه. The best of you is the one who learns the Quran and teaches it. Now we'll go further into explanation into this and what I'm trying to mention here about this hadith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Baqarah, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. This is a book where there is no doubt in it. هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. What is it? It's a guidance. It is a guidance to who? هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. It's a guidance to those who fear Allah. Those who fear Allah Azza wa Jalla. Those who have taqwa. It is a guidance to those who have taqwa. So, when a person has taqwa, they will have that guidance. They will follow the guidance. What is the guidance? The Quran. It is the Quran. So let us ponder and think about this. خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَهُ. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, the best of you is the one who learns the Quran and then teaches it to others. So this is an authentic hadith mentioned in Sahih al-Bukhari. So the Quran is a source of guidance, and also we have to learn the Quran with understanding. Understanding its meaning. Now, we find majority of Muslims, if you ask them what the Quran means, when it is recited to them, you find majority of Muslims will say, I don't understand what it means. Or you find people who recite the Quran or they'll memorize surahs of the Quran, but they don't understand what it means. We put the Quran somewhere up, very high in the home, out of respect for it. We wrap it up in the most beautiful cloth that we can find, and we place it at the top. When do we take it down? When Ramadan comes. We take the Quran down, and we read some of the chapters, because it's Ramadan. After Ramadan is finished, we wrap it up again and we put it up there. Sometimes people, they take it, the Quran is for barakah. They just keep it with them wherever they go for barakah. Blessings. Is this what the Quran was for? Is this why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran to us? Yes, there is a hadith whoever recites from the Quran, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that every letter that you recite from the Quran, you get 10 good deeds. And he said, I don't say alif, lam, mim is one letter, but alif is one letter, mim is one letter, lam is one letter, and mim is one letter. So you get 10 good deeds for each letter that you recite. But let's go back to how we learn the Quran and how the early generations, how they memorized the Quran and learned the Quran. For us, it's just memorizing. We find a lot of Muslims, a lot of people send their children to memorize the Quran. Alhamdulillah. Sending your child to memorize the Quran. But does that child know what the Quran means? Does the child understand what the Quran means? Is there any understanding? Or what about the parent who sends that child to learn the Quran? Does that parent know what those verses that the child is memorizing actually mean? Right? So it's like, Quran is being memorized like a parrot. The knowledge of the Quran is being taken, but just through memorizing. If we look at this hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he said, the best one of you is the one who learns the Quran. He didn't say man hafidha. He didn't say the one who memorizes it. He didn't say the one who memorizes it. He said the one who learns the Quran. What type of learning? Understanding its meaning. Understanding the Quran. Understanding why the verses were revealed. Understanding, how to act on the Quran. This is what is meant by the hadith. But we have changed it around. We have said it's the one who memorizes it. But we find a lot of people who memorize the Quran actually don't know what it means, don't understand the verses. And this is why we have fallen far from the Quran, from our understanding of the Quran. And people misinterpreting it. Why? Because they haven't learned the Quran correctly. We have to ponder over the meaning. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions in the Quran, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. Will you not ponder over the meanings of the Quran? Will you not ponder over the meanings of the Quran? The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he taught his companions verses. For example, 10 verses at a time. And they would not move on to the next 10 verses unless they learn the issues, the ideas related to those 10 verses. And then they would they would do their best to act upon the verses that they learned. Right? So they would learn, memorize 10 verses, understand its meaning, then act upon it. They would practice the Quran. They would practice it. They would practice whatever is in the Quran. This is how they used to memorize the Quran. It was said back then, if someone memorized Surah Al-Baqarah, they would call them a hafidh. A hafidh, a memorizer of the Quran. Someone who memorized Surah Al-Baqarah. Surah Al-Baqarah has many of the laws of the religion of the Sharia in there. So if someone memorized it, they would call them hafidh of the Quran. But we say no, hafidh has to be a complete memory. Memorizing from Surah Al-Fatiha to Surah Nas. Because the way they used to learn the Quran is different to how we have started to learn the Quran. Right? If you look at the madrasas that we have, and the way, in Muslim countries and how it's taught, the Quran to children, compare that. Was the Prophet ﷺ teaching the Quran in a similar way? Were they being taught the same way? Just memorizing. And sometimes they're being forced to memorize when they don't even want to. Right? Is this how the Quran was taught? And we find people, after that turning away from the Quran. People who memorize the Quran, right, in those places, moving away from the Quran. Why? Because was the Quran taught like this at the time of the Prophet ﷺ? No. If we look at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the Quran was taught to people who wanted to learn it. And they would understand it and act upon it. Right? So this is the thing that we have done. Is we have come far from the Quran. and we need to re-establish that connection with the Holy Quran. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Muhammad, verse number 24, translation of its being. Now, you cannot completely translate the Quran. The Quran is in Arabic. If we say this is the translation of the Quran, it's not the actual Quran. And it's not the complete translation. It's just what someone tried their best to translate it for us. But for someone to understand the actual Quran, they have to understand the Arabic. They have to know the Arabic language. So Allah says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. Then will they not think? Will they not reflect, meditate, or ponder, understand the Quran? Will they not understand the Quran and meditate and ponder over it? أَمْ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Or are there locks upon their hearts? Or are there locks upon their hearts? So, if a person does not try their best to understand the meanings of the Quran, then it comes under this explanation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where there is a lock on their heart. Because they can't. Because their heart has been locked. Why? Because committing sin upon sin upon sin upon sin, up until disregarding everything, and their hearts are locked after that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. So, having that connection with the Quran, where we ponder over its meaning. For brothers who are not Arab, they say, look, I'm not Arab, I don't know the Arabic language. Read the meaning, the translation of the Quran. Read the translation of the Quran. And those who are, Arab and understand the meaning when they listen to it, they go into the tafsir. Once you understand the translation, go into the tafsir. And this should be the goal of everyone, that we should go into the tafsir after that. Understanding its translation, and then going into the tafsir. Tafsir Ibn Kathir, Tafsir Tabari. There's many tafsirs now that have been brought into the English language. Translated into English for us. The Quran, we have to cherish it. We have to understand that this is the message of our Creator. Imagine you are given a message and you don't understand what it means. But you read it. You read it, but you don't understand what it means. So are we getting that message that Allah has sent to us? Are we understanding that message that Allah has sent to us? And we find a lot of times we're not getting that message because we don't have that connection with the Quran. We have not pursued to learn the meaning of the Quran, to understand the Quran in a deeper way. And the more you recite the Quran, the more you understand the Quran, the stronger your iman will become. When the Quran is recited, every believer will say, every Muslim will say, when the Quran is recited, I feel like my iman is strong, becoming stronger. These are just the words that are recited by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what about if you understand what is being recited? And you are getting that message from Allah Azza wa Jalla. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned, another way to increase the iman is to have good friendship. Friendship with people who are righteous. With people who are righteous. And that way, when a person has a righteous friend, as the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, Al-mar'u ala dini khalili, falyanzur man yukhalil. A person is on the religion of his close companion. So beware who you take as your companion. Beware whom you take as your companion. So having a relationship, a friendship with those who are consistent in Islam, consistent in the religion, and have good moral behavior. This will reflect upon you. This will bounce off on us if we have close friends who are righteous and pious. Then it bounces off, bounces of them comes to you and bounces back and forth. And you are able to pick up from one another. You are able to learn from one another. You're able to benefit from one another. So having close friends that are righteous and pious, and who have a connection with the masajid. Having a connection with the masajid. This is one way to increase the iman. So have a connection with the mosques. The mosques are a place of deen. And coming to the mosque one day a week is not enough. Coming to the mosque just one day of Jumu'ah is not enough. Coming regularly to increase the iman. Coming on a daily basis to the masajid to help increase the iman, to keep the iman strong. As the Prophet ﷺ recommended to us, to pray as our 5 daily prayers in the masjid if we can. Unless we have a valid excuse, sickness or something else. Otherwise, if we are easily able to come to the masjid, we should come to the masjid and offer prayers. The masjid is a place to connect with the scholars. Where else are we going to find scholars of Islam? Where else are we going to have people that teach Islam? It is in the masajid. It is in the mosques. This is where they come to teach the deen. This is the place where we connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So having that connection with scholars who dedicated their life to learning Islam. And we benefit from their knowledge and they pass that knowledge to us. And when you learn and increase your knowledge, you seek knowledge, you find your iman becoming stronger. You find your iman is becoming stronger when you learn about Islam, when you learn about the religion. The more knowledge you have, the more you are able to follow the guidance. You know, the scholars mention knowledge is the light. If it is dark, you turn on the torch to see where you're going. And the knowledge is like this. If you have knowledge, you're able to see where you're going. You're able to see which path to take. And you know which right way to take. But if a person does not have that light with them, that knowledge with them, they're in darkness. And they don't know which way to go. They're confused. And they could be going the wrong way. This is the benefit of having knowledge. The knowledge and the correct knowledge. Learning from the scholars. Seeking the knowledge. Having that connection with the scholars. You know, learning on a regular basis. And nowadays, you know, we're in the mosque, we go home. If there is music and things we watch on TV and there's no connection with Islam in the home, then of course the iman becomes weak. The faith becomes weak. But if we make the house an environment where we have that connection with Allah, where we have that environment where we remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our own home, you know, where the Quran is recited in the home, where hadith of the Prophet ﷺ is recited, is mentioned between the family at home, then this becomes a home that, you know, helps to increase the iman. Another thing that we can do is to act upon the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Acting on the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. The sunnah has great blessings. And as believers, we believe that, you know, everything the Prophet ﷺ has done is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the Quran. He is the walking example of the Quran. So everything that he has done in his life is an order from Allah Azza wa Jalla. And he is a representation, a perfect representation of the Quran. So when we follow his sunnah, we're implementing the Quran, and we're following the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and you find that your iman increases. When you, in Islam, you know, there is no actual dress code for a Muslim. Some people think you have to dress a certain way to be, you know, a righteous Muslim. But no, there's actually no actual dress code. What is the dress code in Islam? It is to dress in a way which is conservative, in a way which covers the awrah, covers that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned. That's why you find different Muslim countries have a different version of dress. Right? They have a different version of dress, different colors they wear, different styles they wear. Because there's no actual style or way of dress that the Prophet ﷺ said you have to wear this. Right? There's nothing. Because Islam is universal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made his religion for all of mankind. It's not just for certain people in Arabia. It's for all of mankind. So wherever you are in the world, you are able to practice your religion. This is the beauty of Islam. This is the beauty of the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when we talk about sunnah, we're talking about practicing the sunnah. Of course, when you implement the sunnah, right, your iman increases automatically. Of course, appearance of a Muslim is important. Right? The Prophet ﷺ encouraged us that we should look like a Muslim. He even mentioned in the hadith that, with your beards, leave them long and leave your moustache short. Why? Because at that time the Jews and the Christians, they used to leave their moustaches long. So he said, be proud of your religion and show the difference that you are a Muslim. So when they see you, they recognize you, that you are a Muslim. So this is, to be proud of who we are. When you're proud of your Islam, it helps you to increase your iman. To be proud of who you are. And it gives us confidence, right? When you follow the sunnah, it gives you confidence that you're obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're following the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, following the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whichever sunnah you follow, and the more you follow, you feel this will increase you and bring you close to Allah azza wa jalla. So, having the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in one's life, in all aspects. But وَلِبَاسُ التَّقْوَى ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ. Of course, we mentioned that there's no actual dress code for a Muslim, as long as he is conservative in the way and he covers his awrah, right? He or she. But the righteous dress, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, righteous garment, righteous form of clothing is better. وَلِبَاسُ التَّقْوَى ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ. An imitation of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in our, dress is better. Okay, it is better. وَلِبَاسُ التَّقْوَى ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ. And there is many interpretations, as long as one is conservative and following, the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in covering ourselves. And we have to understand that Islam, it's a beautiful religion. Ad-Dinu Yusr. The religion is easy. The religion, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made easy for us. Find sometimes Muslims make religion too hard for people. Make it very difficult. As the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, Bashiru wa la tanaffaru. Give glad tidings and don't make people run away from Islam. Give them good tidings. Give them good news. So Islam always is to be used in a way where it is good news for people. And never a way which is, it gives people this feeling that they want to run away from it. That's the opposite to Islam. The beauty of our religion, if we understand how beautiful our religion is, wallahi, we will be so amazed that Islam shows so much love, so much peace towards other people, so much forgiveness towards other people. Imagine the Prophet ﷺ was in Mecca for 10 years, 13 years, and he never ever raised his hand against anyone. They used to do so many things to the Muslims. They used to torture them, punish them, every single way you can think of. But the Prophet ﷺ, what was his message? Peace. Peace to the people. This is the message of Islam. This is the actual message of Islam. And we sometimes we forget that sometimes. That Islam, it has come to guide us and to bring us closer to Allah Azza wa Jalla. If we look at how the Quran was revealed, simple thing in regards to alcohol at the time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He revealed the Quran, not all together. In some instances, verse by verse. In some places, surah by surah. Different ways. At that time, they were, constantly drinking alcohol before Islam. And it was a normal thing for them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He revealed, وَإِذَا قُمْتُمْ when you stand for prayer, right? لَا تَقْرَبُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَنْتُمْ سُكَارَى لَا تَقْرَبُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَنْتُمْ سُكَارَى. Do not come to prayer when you are drunk. It was an ordinary thing for them. But then they realized, okay, when we come for prayer, do not drink alcohol. Why? Because you become intoxicated. حَتَّى تَعْلَمُوا مَا تَقُولُونَ, until you know what you are saying. So once you are able to understand what you are saying, then come to pray. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ, when they ask you about the khamr, al-maysir, قُلْ فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ, say, in it is great sin. وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ, and benefit for mankind. What is the benefit for mankind? Selling. The selling of the alcohol, to make the money. Some people say it's benefit to drink, but Islam, the Prophet ﷺ said that it is a disease. He mentioned it is a disease. So we can't say that there's benefit in it, because the Prophet ﷺ mentioned to us that there is disease in it. قُلْ فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَافِعِهِمَا, and the sin in it is more than the benefit. The loss in it is more than the benefit. You know, we have a law in this country, in Australia, no, don't drink and drive. Laws are becoming stricter and stricter because people are killing themselves. They're killing themselves and killing other people. Domestic violence, right? Loss of lives. Terrible things happening. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden this. You can see it's forbidden. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed after that it is rijsun min amal shaitan. That the alcohol, it is an evil abomination from the devil. So in stages. And this is how we have to be when propagating Islam to others. We give it to them in stages. We can't force Islam on people. Islam is not there to be forced upon people. But Islam is a beautiful way. It's a beautiful way to follow. You know? Making it beautiful for others. Okay, if a person is starting to pray, give them one prayer a day, 2 times a day, and then increase to 5 times a day when you are ready. Try fasting in Ramadan, whatever you can. Increase in time. You know, our religion is beautiful. But if you tell somebody, okay, you got to do this, you got to fast, you got to pray, you got to do Hajj, the person says, this is too much for me. Can't do this. This is not how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed Islam. He gave it into steps. So for us to teach people, and this should be in all aspects, to help increase the iman, we have to make the religion beautiful for ourselves and for people. Because the deen yusr, as the Prophet mentioned, the religion is easy. Another thing to do to increase the iman is to do good deeds and avoid sins. Because the sins actually decrease the iman. When we commit sins, whether openly or knowingly or unknowingly, you know, forget about openly, as the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned that, you know, a person should avoid committing sins openly. And if it is done, right, a person should ask for forgiveness. If it's done in secret, a person asks for forgiveness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives that person as long as he doesn't expose it to people. Why? Because if you do something wrong, other people imitate that. And when they imitate that, then you get the evil of that as well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. So, doing good deeds increases the iman. So if you want your iman to increase your good deeds. Right? And plan what you're going to do. Like when you get up in the morning, you want to set up your day. You know? If you don't plan your day, then how will you be able to increase your iman? So you have to plan your actions for that day. They say if you fail to plan, right? If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So if at the end of the day you come and you say, I didn't do anything today, because we didn't plan what we're going to do that day. If we set up a schedule, yes, I'm going to do this thing in the morning. I'm going to recite this much of Quran in the morning. I'm going to read it with its translation, with its meaning, with the tafsir. Right? In the evening, I'm going to do this. Right? I'm going to fast on Mondays and Thursdays. I'm going to, wake up for my tahajjud. If I can't do it every day, at least I'll do it on the weekend. At least I'll get up and recite some Quran in my prayer, in my tahajjud. Slowly, doing these things helps to increase the iman. And when you're able to do it on a regular basis, that's when you feel like your iman is becoming stronger. That's when you feel like your iman is becoming stronger, because you're doing it on a regular basis. So, the main message from this lecture is that having the connection with the Quran, understanding the Quran, pondering over its meaning when it's recited and when we recite it, having close friends which are righteous and pious and remind us of Allah Azza wa Jal. Right?
It's 9 o'clock.
Do we still have time? How long do we have?
5 minutes.
5 more minutes, inshallah. Okay. So, having close friends, following the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? Having connection with the scholars of Islam. But also remember, when you learn the Quran, as we know, Ramadan comes and goes, and in a few months Ramadan will come again. But what am I planning to do in this Ramadan? What am I doing? What am I planning to increase my iman in this Ramadan? Well, we should have a plan that I want to do something more than last Ramadan, or at least something that will be continuous this Ramadan. Right? Whether it's reciting extra Quran, whether it's reading some books on Islam, whether it's spending time with the family and giving that time with the family where you're sharing the knowledge of Islam with one another. Right? Sitting down, reading a hadith together. Do we sit down with the family, right, and read some hadith together from the Prophet ﷺ's life? Or are we constantly watching things on TV which have nothing to do with it? Because if we lose that connection in our home, then we lose that connection with Allah Azza wa Jalla. And that's why the connection in the masjid is important. Because once you have that connection in the masjid, when you go home, you should feel the same. It shouldn't feel like a different environment. You should still be able to establish your religion at home. You still should be able to establish, the prayer at home. And a person, when he comes home, he should feel like this is a beautiful place. This is a place where I can relax. This is the place where I feel, tranquility. And that can only happen when it becomes a place of iman, a place of righteousness, a place of fear of Allah Azza wa Jalla, having taqwa, right? And with the children as well. Those of us who have children, to give them that upbringing, that showing them that iman is the most important thing, that faith, Islam is the most important thing in your life. Right? Otherwise, if they don't have that ideology that the faith is the most important thing to them, they'll look for other answers. They'll look for answers other places. And we know that the Quran mentions that the only answer is the Quran. For our lives as believers, we have no other place to seek guidance from except from the Quran. We have no other place to seek, a law from except for the Quran. Yes, we live in this country, alhamdulillah. And the Prophet ﷺ mentioned to us, follow the law of the land that you are in. Yes, of course. And our law is the Quran, the Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if we understand its meaning, we are able to act upon it. If we know what Allah has forbidden and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed, then we'll find that we are pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We'll find that we have that close connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us this connection with the Quran, to make us of the people who truly understand the Quran and act upon it. Because whatever we learn from the Quran, we have to act upon it. We have to act upon it, because then it will be a shafi', on the day of judgment, it will be a source of intercession for us if we act on the Quran, learning the Quran and acting upon it. But if we learn the Quran and do not act upon it, it will become the opposite for us. It will not be an intercessor for us on the day of judgment. So learning the Quran, understanding it and acting upon its meanings, acting upon its laws. Right? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions that His mercy is greater than His wrath. His mercy upon His creation is greater than His wrath. How much mercy Allah Azza wa Jalla has. Look at the world, look at everything that is happening. Look at the universe. How much is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The rain comes from the heavens. The rain comes from the sky to the earth. and the earth, is revitalized. The crops grow. People benefit from them. Look at the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The relationship that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created between spouses. Right? Between children and their parents. Between human beings. Friendships. Love. All these things. These are the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is all the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy is more than His wrath. And is greater than anything that we can even understand or imagine. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wants to forgive and forgive and forgive. So we have to, as Muslims, we have to have that open heart. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive others and bring them on the guidance of the Quran, inshaAllah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us strong in iman, strong in faith, strong in actions, according to the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that we can, inshaAllah, have the strong iman and have the guidance according to the guidance that is correct for us, inshaAllah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us and to guide us and to forgive us for our shortcomings. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of the righteous and pious people and make us of those people who benefit others. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the best of you is the ones who benefit others. Right? We ask Allah to make us of those who benefit others, make this lecture, inshallah, benefit to others, and whatever you learn, inshallah, pass it on to others. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Balligh anni walau ayah." Whatever you learn, even if it's one verse, teach it to others, pass it on to others. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.